Page 28, Heart and Soul. There's a note at the bottom on the eighth notes where you can play them long, short, long, short, long, short. I call it swinging the eighth notes. Like in the second line on page 28 in the right hand, those eighth notes are written this way. But if you play them long, short, that's the style of the piece. And so yes, a little bit about the right hand. On page 28, second line, second measure. They're recommending a third finger on the A. When you come off, play the previous measure first. You played a fourth finger on the G. So how are you going to get the third finger to the A? I recommend you play your fifth finger on the first A, fourth finger on the second, third finger on the half note A. That gets you in the position you need to be in a little more comfortably, I think. Because in the next measure you want the third finger on the A. Now in the last line on page 28, second measure, right hand, start with the fourth finger, then cross over to the G, and then, okay, that's fine. There's other fingerings that might work. This works too, though, that's fine. Now you're wondering on page 29, getting the first and second measure, how do I get from a 1-2 to a 3 here? And the answer is they're not connected. So it's easy. You just lift the hands up and do it. Because in this case you don't play them legato, so it's alright. Over on page 29, second line is the first measure, same thing. Those three A's, I recommend 5-4-3. Third line, their fingering is fine. Starting with the fourth finger, cross over, and then use the third finger on the A. Very common fingering. Suggest you get good at it. It's the exact same fingering for the next couple measures. Okay, fine. On the first time though, on the third line down, there is another fingering you could use, and that is to start the eighth notes with the fifth finger instead of the fourth. Then you're not crossing the thumb at all. But in the next sequence, their fingering is, I think, better. Simply because I don't have to put the little finger on the black note. Okay, and the thumb and the little finger can cause problems on the black note. So, yeah, if you don't have to, don't, and you don't here. In the left hand, their fingering is fine the way it's written, but it's like the previous piece that we did. I talked about the left hand. When you have a chord, a high, low, high, low. Does that chord sound familiar? It's that turnaround sequence we talked about before. I recommend putting the fourth finger on the higher chords. So it's fourth finger on the first one, then fifth, then fourth on the next measure. Because the hand really doesn't have to move as much if you do that. As far as the style, they're saying legato pedaling throughout. I mean, it's like, no. This piece doesn't get legato pedaling through. I recommend we do a lift the pedal up with the second and fourth beats. So you play the second and fourth beats short. Give it a light feel. Anyway, I'm recommending that pedaling is down on the first one and up on the second one. Down on the third and up on the fourth. Even at the bottom of page 29, when you have the right hand has a whole note, I would continue with that same style. Because you can hold that whole note down, it'll sound fine. Then in the very end, you change the style, and now it's connected. Because you're slowing down. Right? So the last line on page 29. Something like that. That's what I'm suggesting. Now and again, bring out the melody. Now this piece is moderately not too fast. A lot of people will play it way too fast. Just try singing it that fast and see how far you get. Yeah, moderately, but okay. So that's all I would suggest in taking it, but we're going to go really slow so we can make sure we got the rhythms and the notes and all that junk, okay. And not a lot to say. It has an MF at the beginning, a mezzo forte, and as I said many times, that applies to the melody. Well, the first two measures, there's no melody. So when you have an introduction like this with no melody, it's just accompaniment. The accompaniment goes ahead and plays the regular dynamic that the melody would play. Then when the melody comes in, the accompaniment immediately goes down. So if I play sort of like so, and the minute or the moment, the instant the melody comes in, the left hand is soft. Just like that. Listeners won't even notice. All they'll know is they like what they hear. You listen to professionals and they'll do that, and you think, oh, okay, I get it. Notice over on page 29, third line down, second measure, in the left hand, the last note is a G and an A, and they have that little square bracket and the wand. You play those with the thumb. Of course, there's a note to tell you to do that. They don't need the note. When you see a square bracket and a one like that, you just know, okay, I'm going to play both of those notes with whatever the finger number they're showing. It's almost always a thumb. So part of the challenge in this piece is going to be playing two different styles in the hands. One hand plays one style, the other hand plays a different style. So right at the beginning of this, okay, the first two measures establish the style for the left hand. So that's the style the left hand's going to keep right up until the end, the last 2 or 3 measures or whatever it is, 2.5 measures. But the right hand is a little more legato. So let's start right at the beginning here, just to give you an example of the left hand starting its style, but the right hand isn't doing that style, it's got something else. At the same time, so you got to hold the right hand notes down even though you're coming up with the left hand and with the pedal. So you're thinking, it's like double duty here. But this is very common with pianists. We have to learn to handle different styles at the same time. So it's just a matter of practicing it. It's really not that hard once you get the hang of it. Nothing is that hard once you get the hang of it, is it? Let's try this out slowly. It's a 4/4 time. Keep in mind it is in the key of F. F has one flat, a B flat, so all the B's are flatted unless they have a natural sign, and I don't see any natural signs. So we're going to use B flats, okay? Left hand is here. Right hand here, foot's on the pedal. Here we go. I've sped the metronome up to 70. Hopefully that won't be too fast for the 8th notes. Let's see. 1, 2, ready, go. 3, 4,